Oi oi people, and welcome back to the third episode of the Bogan Gooner breakdown. Here we are today on this lovely Tuesday afternoon to discuss the defeat at Brentford. That's right, Brentford 2, Arsenal nil, Arsenal nil, Brentford 2 people. Alright, disappointing way to start off the season, especially considering that we have the European champions next, followed by the league champions. And I have to say, guys, with both of our strikers out, if we end up 3 games in with no goals scored and no points, it is going to be a rough go for Mikel Arteta to hold on to his job. Well, I hope anyway. It looks like perhaps the people at Arsenal do not necessarily share my views, but God, that would not be a good start. 0 goals and 0 points from 3 games. So let's keep all our fingers and toes crossed that does not happen. Alright, guys, so we'll get straight into the game then. Look, it was a turgid game, guys. Just to look at some of the stats, we had about 65% possession to their 35. We had more shots than them. We had the same amount of shots on goal, though, even though we had 15 shots to their 8, which is almost double the amount of shots. We both only had 3 shots on target, which kind of tells you something about our shooting, all the places that we were taking shots from. We had pretty even free kicks, 8 to 10 in our favour. Only 3 corners for us, 2 for them. Leno only made 1 save, where Raya made 3. And we had 86% pass completion, and they only had 66%. That was a bit booky. I don't know if that's necessarily right, guys, but they did go quite long a lot, so I wouldn't necessarily be surprised. Getting into the tactics to the game, and we'll discuss our attacking tactics first, because I really think our attacking tactics are a bit of a problem at the moment, guys. They seem to entirely consist of moving the ball out wide to Tierney and getting him to cross in a look. He admittedly puts in good balls, so getting him to cross in a quite good ball into the box, but no one is ever there, guys. And it's not really surprising, given that we don't have forwards that specialise in being in the air. It feels like we're playing to Olivier Giroud, despite him leaving quite some time ago. I really don't know why we are forcing the ball wide and crossing in so much, people. It wouldn't be the tactic that I would pick. I can't imagine that it's the only thing that Mikel Arteta has instructed this team to do, even though that seems what the discourse seems to be like online. Everyone thinks, well, that's what he must want them to do, because that's the only thing they're doing. I can't imagine that is the only attacking tactic that we have. But the stats speak for themselves, people. Kieran Tierney put 11 crosses in, and I don't think we got on the end of many of them at all, to be honest. So that speaks for itself. We're having a problem attacking at the moment. It's not a problem defending, although we had some problems defending this game, but generally we haven't had a problem defending for a little bit. But our attacking patterns of play have been dead for a while now, and we're hoping that can change, especially because, as I said, we've got 2 very difficult games coming up. But let's look at our defending and some of the points that I thought were problems with our defending, guys. So it seems like this season Arteta is looking to press a little bit higher up the pitch. Our midfield and our forwards are quite deep in the opposition half when they have the ball. We're not sitting off. Our back line is quite up close to the halfway line, which I don't know if that suits a lot of our players, to be honest. Pablo Mari, for instance, Rob Holding. I don't think they are defenders that you want to see on the halfway line, because they get skinned. But even Pablo Mari in this game, guys, you'd think he's a tall lad. You'd think he'd be getting his head to everything, but he certainly wasn't. Interestingly, I thought he had a better game than Ben White. I thought Ben White was pretty shocking this game. But look, I don't want to lay into Ben White too much. He's a new bloke, and we've stuck him between Chambers, who doesn't look fully fit to me, and Mari, and said, "Good luck, mate." In my opinion, that's a bit of a fucking stitch up. is what I would call it, to be honest, guys. But if you're going to play that high line, you have to win the first balls. That's the first thing. Brentford were going long up to their two strikers. I think they played in Mbumo, I don't know how to pronounce that cunt's name, Mbumo, and Tony up there. And basically what would happen is they'd go long, they'd win the first ball and try to flick it onto their partner, or what would happen is one of our centre-backs would get ahead to it, the ball goes back into midfield, and who's there with the second ball? Brentford, and not our midfielders, because our midfielders were too far advanced and there was a massive gap between our centre-backs and our midfield, which they were quite disconnected from each other. I recall quite early in the game, this is when I realised that things weren't going to go our way on the night. It was quite early. There was a ball that came out from Brentford up to Mari. Murray heads the ball away into their midfield, and the Brentford player was there, bang on the second ball, hits the ball through to Tony, who flicks it, facing the wrong way from goal. He flicks it over the head of Mari, and then Bumo's there, bang, and he runs in. He takes quite a good shot. He was really good on the night, to be fair to him. He gave us a lot of problems. There was another ball where Raya went straight to him. And then, guys, if we're going to talk about getting to second balls, we have to discuss their first goal, which is Brentford's first goal in the Premier League ever. This is their first game in the Premier League, and we gave it to them, and this is their first goal in the Premier League, and we also gave that to them. Chambers goes to clear the ball. Was it out? Was it not out? Who knows? Probably was out. But the speed with which he tried to get rid of it, that's on him. If it was out, he should have left it out. If it wasn't out, then, obviously he's cleared it pretty fucking insufficiently, to be honest. It's gone straight back to the Brentford midfielder. He puts the ball in. Chambers again doesn't close the player down, and he rattles one in past Leno. Whoa. Allow me, guys. It's been a long day. I had an exam today. I think I got through it though. So allow me the VB. And look, I think what we can take away from this game, because I knew I had to do this video and address some of the stuff, but to be honest, I didn't want to talk about this fucking game because it was a demoralising thing to stay up. To get up at 5 o'clock in the morning for. Let's just put it that way, guys. It was bloody demoralising and not a not good way to kick off my Saturday. Thankfully, my weekend got better from there, but it wasn't a good start to my Saturday. But what this does highlight, and what I do want to talk about, is our squad. So I think the elephant in the room at the moment is Leno. Now, Leno's a bloke who has openly told us that he's willing to look for a new challenge somewhere else. He's seeking a new challenge somewhere else. And basically, since that comment's been made, he hasn't been fantastic, guys. You don't want to talk about Martinez too much, but we did have a crossroads where we decided that we were going to stay with Leno, or at the very least we weren't prepared to commit to Martinez as our number one. And maybe that wasn't enough for him, and that's fine. And no one was looking to buy Leno, so you can't sell someone that no one's looking to buy. But we committed our future to a goalkeeper who doesn't want to be here, and that really, in my opinion, is not good enough. Now, he's not the biggest problem in our squad. We have far bigger problems, but he is a problem. And the more I watch him, the more I think he is becoming more of a problem. Playing out from the back is something that we seem to want to do, and he just doesn't seem comfortable doing it at all. I don't think he gives our defenders confidence when he has the ball, and that's a big problem. It's a really big problem, because if that's the way that we're going to persist. I always yawn when I do these things. I don't know what's going on with that. If that's the way that we're going to persist playing, then something's got to give. Something's got to give, because he simply has not been good enough. Not recently. I can't think of the last game that I was really impressed with his performance, which says a lot, because he's a senior member of the team, and we should be able to rely on these senior players, but we can't. You can't mention Leno in the context of Brentford without mentioning their second goal. Now, I understand that he's being tied up, and that's not necessarily his fault, but you are a fucking goalkeeper, and goalkeepers are afforded so much latitude when they're in their box. Push the cunt off you, throw him to the ground. At the very worst, you go down with him and you get a free kick. They're not giving a penalty against you in that situation, so you got to do what you got to do to get out of being held that way. No excuses. That was absolutely pathetic keeping, and I think if my year 12 goalkeeping coach saw that, he would have been all over Leno's ass, and he. Look, I wasn't a very talented goalkeeper, mate, so that tells you how much of a fundamental problem that is. Our squad, I think the main thing for me at the moment is our squad identity. And I've touched on the passing out of the back aspect when talking about Leno there. But I think more holistically, we should be looking at what type of team we want to be. Now, as far as I can tell, Arteta wants to build this team into a possession-based team. Every goal that we have seems to only come about by 20, 30 perfectly executed, unbroken passes all the way from Leno to the front line. But that's not the only way to play football. Last season in the Premier League, we were the slowest, if not around the slowest teams in terms of ball progression from the back to the front that resulted in a shot. We don't move the ball quickly. We hold on to it. And that does not suit our attackers. We have attackers like Martinelli, Pepe, Aubameyang. All three of those guys, Emil as well, and Saka can play this way, although Saka is quite adaptable. All these players want to play fast. Pepe, Martinelli, Aubameyang, they all want to receive the ball with space in front of them. They want through balls. They thrive in transition. And we're not playing that way. And we're not allowing them to play that way, because we hold on the ball and play for possession, even though it doesn't necessarily suit our players. Now, the player that I do think it does suit is Granit Xhaka. But it says everything that after the game, Norwood from Brentford come out and he said, we deliberately targeted Xhaka in possession to press him off the ball. Now, he gave Xhaka a few compliments when he said that. And I don't like when people do that and they take things out of context, their headline. But he did give him a compliment. He said he's a good player. Good players like Granit Xhaka. Something like that. The fact remains that they targeted him in possession and he lost the ball pretty much on the top of our box as well. Having been pressed out of possession, he lost the ball a couple of times during the game. It's a problem. It's a problem. It's going to be a long, long, long season if some of these things don't change, guys. And it is looking like Aubameyang and Lacazette both may have COVID. There's reports out today that the game nearly got cancelled I really fear for us going up against Chelsea and Man City. The only part that I'm holding out hope against Chelsea is that they haven't beaten us in quite a while, and we might have a chance there. I don't know what the hell went on with City and Spurs, because it was 1 o'clock in the morning here on Monday morning, so I wasn't waking up to watch that. But I can't imagine that was anything but an anomaly. And City will slap us up too. So we got to find a way to get the ball to our forwards. Balogun hardly had any touches. KT and Martinelli hardly played any balls to each other. Martinelli didn't have very many touches. We're not supplying our forwards, and we're not supplying them in a way that suits them. We're not playing to their strengths. So how can we expect to score goals? It's just not going to happen. So, look, I'm a positive bloke, so I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Arsenal against Chelsea. But fucking hell, I want to be clipped up, because that is honestly, I'm pretty terrified for that game, guys. So, fingers crossed we do all right, and I'll see you next time. Make sure to drop a like, subscribe, comment, anything you can do to help me grow the channel. Share it on Twitter. All very much appreciated. All right. Cheers, guys. Laters.